It's 6:30 a.m. and I'm on my way to my first event of the year. I just arrived at my event. I am here an hour and 40 minutes early, and I'm not running late, but I'm also not early. So that's why I kind of didn't say anything on the way here. But hi, my name is Anna. I'm the owner of AMarieEcoSew. And this is my first in-person event of the year. I am set up at a high school for their spring market. And well, I'm not set up yet, unfortunately, but that's what I'm gonna go in and do now. First, let's go in and find my spot. This was my spot for the day. I believe it was 6 by 10 feet. Loading up in one of these wagons is like life hack of the century if you're doing events by yourself. I can carry all of this in one load, and it's like 90% of my stuff. I'll need to come back out one more time. But if I was by myself, this would take me at least 5, 6, 7 trips to and from my car. When I first started doing these events, I almost always had somebody helping me, usually my mom. But throughout the years, I've gotten more confident in my ability to do it by myself. It's definitely a lot of work and it can be physically taxing, but it's all worth it in the end. And for an event like this that was 45 minutes away from my house, it is a lot to ask somebody to come out, especially just to help me unload and reload up. I can manage being alone for 6 hours, so I set this one up by myself. And it was on Mardi Gras, so everybody was busy partying. Everything is officially set up, and I've got 25 minutes until the start, so I've got time to eat some breakfast, have a snack, whatever I need. I took this time lapse at the beginning of the event, and you can see that the foot traffic was pretty slow. I try to stand up and engage with people when they walk by as much as I can. And here you can see one of my first customers of the day picking out a set of reusable paper towels. This mom and daughter were super nice, and it was cool to talk to them. I picked up a salad from Panera on my way, or as we in St. Louis call it, Breadco, and you'll be able to see on my face that I wasn't super impressed with it. But it had a lot of chicken, which really filled me up for the rest of the event, so that was good. I didn't have to stop anywhere on my way home. I really want to get better about packing my own food for events because it can get really expensive. And on a day like today where it wasn't super profitable, every little bit cuts into your profits. At this point, the morning was going okay, and I was hoping that sales would pick up in the afternoon, but unfortunately they did not. I took this time lapse a little later in the day, and you can see how little the foot traffic is. I was sitting a lot more because whenever there's nobody walking by, there's really no reason to stand up. But I did eventually have some people coming by, and I always get up to chat whenever that happens. I try to not be pushy, but instead be informative. I make sure that anybody that stops by my booth knows everything they need to know about my products, but I try not to push them into sales. I don't like when people do that to me, so I don't do it to them. But it's good to make yourself available to answer questions. And a lot of times people don't know what my product is just by the first look. By the middle of the day, it was pretty dead. There was nobody walking by my booth, and you can see that there were a lot of vendors here, and there were even more in the hallways and in another gym. But you can see that there's not a ton of people walking around. It's about just over halfway through the event, and I don't know if I've made a sale in the last hour, so I'm kind of just reading a book and putting it down as people pass by. There's 1 hour left. I've made a few more sales, but not a whole lot, so I'm not sure if I'll attend this event next spring again or if I will just skip it. But honestly, I need the money, so I'm not regretting doing it. This was what my booth looked like at the end of the day. Not a super big change, but I did sell through some product. And finally, it was time to pack up. I would be lying if I said I wasn't disappointed with how the day went. But I think it's important not to dwell on these things and instead to just let them inform your decisions in the future. So that's why I'm making the decision to not attend this event again next year. So much of selling at events is just trial and error. When people ask me how I pick my events, this is a lot of times how it goes. You try a bunch of stuff out and you stick with what works. And sometimes something that worked in the past doesn't work anymore. Okay, I'm officially all finished up. That was a 6-hour event, and I've done this one before, but I think that it might have been my last one today because it just wasn't that great. The foot traffic wasn't great. People were buying, so I definitely still made some sales. I don't regret going. I definitely do not regret going because honestly, I needed some cash flow. So even though it wasn't an amazing event and it might not be worth it next year, it was worth it for me this year. The worst part about a lot of these events is that whenever they're far from home, after packing everything up, and this one I did completely by myself, so I unloaded everything by myself, I packed everything back up, I lifted my super heavy broken tote into my car by myself, and the thing that sucks is that now I have a 45-minute drive home. Also, fantastic news, while I was here, I got my email confirmation that I am a full season vendor for the 2025 season of my local farmers market. The farmers market is by far the biggest share of my income for the whole year, so I'm really excited about that. The first one is the first Saturday of April. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna go home and take a little nap. Bye!